So in this video, I'm going to explain how to review an MTR. An MTR can either stand for Material Test Report or Mill Test Report. So what is an MTR? An MTR is basically a certified document that verifies that a certain material meets specific requirements. One way to explain an MTR is to say we have a cookie. That cookie has to have a very specific amount of sugar. It can't have too little, it can't have too much. It has to have a specific number of chocolate chips. If you were to bend the cookie, it has to bend a certain amount before breaking. That cookie has to be baked using a very specific recipe. An MTR would basically be a certified document saying that this cookie was baked using the correct recipe. Okay, so now that we know what an MTR is, let's look at how to review one. So here we have a 6-inch stainless butt weld tee. If you look at the stamp on it, you can see it shows some information here. It shows that it's 6-inch Schedule 10 stainless. It shows that it was manufactured in Germany. This HT number is very important. This is your heat number. You can see that it says 55716. So if you look here, you'll see WP 304/304L-S. So what does this mean? WP stands for wrought pipe fitting. It means that this fitting was formed, either by rolling or by forging or something like that. It wasn't poured into a mold like cast. 304 means that it's a type of stainless. L stands for low carbon, and this S right here means seamless, meaning there's no weld seam. 09/20, that is most likely the manufacturing date. This 267185 number, that is a traceability number that the manufacturer uses. So you can see here it says PMI A403/SA403. What does this mean? PMI stands for Positive Material Identification. This can be done with a PMI gun or some other type of technique where the technique can tell you what the material is made of. A403 is a pipe fitting specification for stainless steel material. So this is basically saying that the PMI results confirmed that this fitting meets the A403 specifications. So now that we've read the stamp, let's compare it to the MTR. So you can see at the top here, this is a Certified Material Test Report, MTR. So we're going to scroll down here to the markings, and we're going to compare this to the markings on the tee. This is going to be the first thing you want to do before you look at anything else on the MTR. You want to make sure that this MTR is the right one for the fitting. So usually the first thing I'll check is the heat number. So we got right here HT 55716. We look at the T, HT 55716. So we know we're good there. It's a 6-inch Schedule 10 stainless, manufactured in Germany. 6-inch Schedule 10 stainless, manufactured in Germany. We've got WP 304 seamless. 304 seamless. There we go. Our PMI showed A403/SA403. That matches. Here is our traceability number, and it matches 267185, 267185. So this manufacturing date isn't always going to be on the MTR. On some projects, they may require a date traceability, but it really just depends. Not this one. So let's start up here at the top at description. This is basically just a basic description of the component. We can see right here it is a T and it's seamless. Our material grade is WP 304 304L. We know that this is correct. For class, it's going to have S, which is for seamless. So for quantity, it shows 36 pieces. This means that this heat contained 36 pieces. Our dimensions, 6-inch Schedule 10 stainless. So our component section is all good. Moving down to requirements. So for our base material, it shows ASTM A312/A312M. If you look here, it shows ASME Section 2, Part A. So ASTM A312 is a piping spec for stainless material. So our base material is the piping that was used to make the T. This is telling us that that base material meets the requirements of ASTM A312/A312M. So that M stands for metric. So because this MTR and this material was manufactured in Germany, they use the metric system, and that is what that M stands for. There's a version of A312 that has all metric measurements, and they're just letting you know that each of those is good. So product form shows ASTM A403/A403M. This is the same thing. This is telling us that now that it's a fitting and it's no longer piping, now the specification changes to A403, and this fitting meets that requirement. So moving on to welding bevel. This is telling you that it meets the requirements of ASME B16.9. This is a dimensional standard. The bevel has to meet the criteria of that dimensional standard. Usually standard for this is that the bevel has to be 37.5 degrees and it has to have a small root face or landing. This shows that the T was cold formed, which means it was formed at around room temperature. So now moving down to heat treatment. So ASTM A403 requires material to be solution annealed. The minimum temperature for this is usually 1900 degrees. You can see that we are at 1940 degrees Fahrenheit. It has to anneal long enough to dissolve the carbides, and 20 minutes is usually plenty enough to do that. It was water quenched to cool it off, and that is also part of the A403 requirements. Now moving on to chemical composition. The first thing you'll see in this column here is that our heat number is 55716. So they're just letting us know that this chemical composition is for that specific heat number. So what you would do is you would compare this chemical composition to a table that's located in ASTM A403. It'll give you the requirements for each of these elements. So we have C, which is carbon, Mn, which is manganese, P for phosphorus, S for sulfur, Si for silicon, Cr for chromium, Ni for nickel. N is for nitrogen, and it's not always a requirement. We're not going to worry about that one today. We're just going to check these others. So to verify this, you can use a cheat sheet. I have one here for 304, and let's take a look. So you can see that 304 and 304L have some differences here, which the main one is your carbon. So L, like we said earlier, stands for low carbon, and you can see that it only allows a max of 0.035, where 304 only has a max of 0.08. So if your carbon is within both of these ranges, then that makes this MTR dual certified for both 304 and 304L. So we're going to check that. So going back to the MTR, this shows that carbon is 0.022. Now you'll notice that these have commas instead of decimals. That is because This is a European MTR, and they like to use commas, where in America, you would normally use decimals. So let's check this. 0.022 for carbon. This shows a maximum of 0.08 for 304 or a max of 0.035 for 304L. We are at 0.022, so we're below the max for both of those. So we're going to just highlight this, show that we're good. So manganese, 1.60. We can't be above 2 on either of these, so we are good there. Phosphorus, 0.027. We're at 0.045, 0.045 max on both. That's good. Sulfur, 0.001. Very, very low. We have to have a max of 0.030 on both, so we are good there. Silicon, 0.31. Silicon, 1. So we're far below that maximum. Chromium, 18.4. We have to be between 18 and 20 on both of these. So notice this one doesn't have a max. This one actually has a tolerance, a minimum and a maximum. So 18.4, we are just above the minimum, so we are good there. So nickel, 10.33. We have to be between 8 and 11 or 8 and 12 for 304L. We're at 10.33, so we are good. And like I said, we're not going to worry about the nitrogen this go around. So our chemical composition is good. Moving on now to mechanical properties. So once again, right here, we have our heat number. So we know that they mechanically tested the correct material. So what we're going to be really paying attention to here is yield strength, tensile strength, and elongation. On yield strength, what we're really wanting to pay attention to is this 0.2% offset. So once again, there will be a table in ASTM A403 that gives you the mechanical property tolerances. And once again, I have a cheat sheet. So we're going to take a look at that now. And this shows your tensile strength, your yield strength for your 0.2% offset, and your elongation. And these are all minimums. So we have to make sure that we're just above these numbers on our MTR. So let's go back to our MTR. So you're going to have two different measurements here. Your KSI is your kips per square inch. And your N/MM2 is going to be newtons per square millimeter. So depending on where in the world you are is going to make the difference on which one of these you look at. Today, I'm going to be looking at kips per square inch. So let's take a look at our cheat sheet for yield strength. So we have KSI, kips per square inch of 36. Right here, our yield strength for our 0.2% offset shows a minimum of 30 kips per square inch. Because we're above that at 36, we are within tolerance and we're good. So let's go over here to tensile strength. Our KSI is 78. Our cheat sheet shows that we have to have a minimum of 75. So we're just above that, but we are within tolerance. And for our elongation percentage, we're showing 57.2, and we have to have a minimum of 35%. So we are well above that. So we are good on our mechanical properties. So if you would like this cheat sheet that shows the mechanical property minimums and also the chemical composition, then I'll have a link to those in the description. Moving down to hardness testing. So hardness testing isn't always required per B31.3. And let's just say in this case, it's not a requirement for us for this T that we're looking at. Most MTRs you get are probably going to have this information on there, but it can just be considered extra information. That way, if you were on a job that required hardness testing, they would have it on the MTR. I'm not going to get real detailed into the hardness testing in this video, but I will make another video in the near future that break down the different types of hardness testing, and we'll go a little bit more into detail about them then. So even though we're going to say that hardness testing is not a requirement on this specific job for this T, we're still just going to take a quick look at it. So HRC, what does HRC stand for? That stands for Hardness Rockwell C. Moving down to the next page of the MTR, this is also part of the hardness testing. You'll see HV10. This stands for Hardness Vickers using a 10 kilogram load, and it shows that they were between 160 and 172, which is normal for a 10 kilogram load using Vickers hardness testing. So moving on to mandatory tests. So you'll see here that it says positive material identification. Over here, you'll see 100% base and weld metal, satisfactory. So this is saying that they PMI'd this material, they PMI'd 100% of the base, no weld metal because this is seamless. That's why it says if applicable here. But they did PMI 100% of the base and it is satisfactory. It shows that it is the correct material. Visual and dimensional control, satisfactory. So visual control would mean that they looked at it, they made sure that it had no issues, no cracks, anything like that you can see with the naked eye. Dimensional control means that they pulled the required measurements, and it is in fact a 6-inch Schedule 10. It meets the B16.9 requirements as far as the beveling goes, and it's built to the correct measurements that it's supposed to be built to. So for metallurgical requirements, it shows corrosion resistance, and here it says ASTM A262 Practice E satisfactory. So Practice E means that they performed a Strauss test. This test basically just proves that the material was correctly heat treated and it meets all corrosion resistance requirements. Down here at the bottom, you'll see that it has been signed off by an authorized inspection representative certifying that this MTR is true and accurate. They give you the disclaimer right here above it, and that's pretty much it. So from what I can see, this MTR and this stainless 6-inch T is fully acceptable. So depending on who your client is and who you're doing this work for, the requirements and the job scope and the PO and all these things like that, you may not have to completely review every detail of an MTR. I just went through the whole thing so we could see what each section entailed of. A lot of times the only thing that you may have to verify is this section right here. You want to make sure that the markings are correct, the heat number matches. On some jobs, they may not allow for certain material to be manufactured from a certain country. Say, for example, they could say no material from China. Whenever you review the MTRs, if you run across one that shows China as the manufacturer, then that MTR would be unacceptable, that material would be unacceptable, and you would need to bring that up. Another thing that may come up is sometimes these can be referred to as MTCs. It's a different document, but it's basically the same. An MTC stands for Material Test Certificate. It's basically the same thing, but it's technically a certification of compliance, and normally it's going to have the same test results on it as well. So that's pretty much all there is to reviewing an MTR. If you have any questions or see anything that I may have missed, please let me know in the comments. If you would like the cheat sheets that I used that show the chemical composition and the mechanical property limits, the link to those will be in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.